In today's Legal on 4, what to do with that letter from the IRS. You think a photo traffic ticket will ruin your day? Wait till you get a letter from the IRS saying that you owe more money. The IRS has greatly increased their activity in this area, so you should be aware of what to do if this happens to you. The good news is that a letter does not necessarily mean that you actually owe them money. Our legal contributor, Craig Wisdom, is here. Sounds like the IRS is doing a bit of fishing.
Well, they've definitely stepped up their activity in this area, and also keep in mind that e-filing that's really come into play the last few years. A lot of this information is more readily available for kind of cross-checking and such than it used to be when everything was just a piece of paper that had to be, read by a person. So we've seen a lot more. I've seen more in the last 6 months than I've seen in the last 6 years from people. And of course, the IRS letter doesn't really say, look, we think you might owe us money, check into this and respond. It normally says, we've determined you owe us money, send it in or let us know why you don't agree. But that's not always the case. Okay,
now you're going to tell us some do's and don'ts regarding the letter. Let's start with the do's.
With the do's. First of all, it's not necessarily pleasant to deal with. It's no fun for any of us.
No.
But don't delay. Don't put it off. Once you get it, deal with it immediately. Try to get on it the next business day. They generally give you 30 days to respond, either to send the money in or to let them know why you don't. They also give you the opportunity to ask for an extension, so you can certainly do that. But whatever you do, don't just let it sit there at the bottom of the mail pile. Respond with it right away.
All right. Also, contact your accountant.
Exactly. If you have an accountant or a CPA who prepared your tax return, that's the first call you want to make for them to help you look at this and figure out what happened.
And make sure that you understand what's going on.
Exactly. As we'll say, you don't want to assume that you just owe this money. And obviously the tax system is very complicated. So certainly before you do anything, if you didn't have an accountant prepared, read through the IRS and see if you understand where they're coming from, why they think you didn't report some income and owe them more money. If you can't understand it, you definitely need to go out and get professional help before you pay them or argue with them.
Absolutely. Contact the money people.
Exactly. A lot of this sometimes can be cleared up with your bank or your broker or your financial planner. We've had this a great deal where they'll be saying, look, we see that they get the automatic records that you sold a stock or you cashed in a CD, and they say, oh, there's $100,000 there. Guess you owe us tax on the whole thing. Well, the company themselves may have the records that show that you really don't have that much gain in that asset right in their own records, and they can either give you the financial form or provide you with a letter to the IRS that can sometimes make the whole issue go away.
But it's been my experience, because we've actually faced that it takes a long time. Lots of letter writing, lots of back and forth, very intimidating letters until you do finally get it settled.
It depends on how they're doing it. Sometimes it can be as simple as, okay, we got that letter from you, we understand, never mind. They don't say sorry, I don't think, but but it goes away. In fact, what they'll normally do is you get all this information back to them sometimes, and then 30 days later you say, we received your letter. We'll respond to you in 60 days. But you don't want to assume that just because the IRS puts this in the letter that it's correct. Now, it may be that you made a mistake and messed up and such, but also don't understand that they've got the full information, because it's couched in terms of, gee, we figured this out and you owe us money. Make sure you go to the source and understand it, because a lot of times they're not correct. They just don't have all the information.
We are just so indoctrinated. We see that IRS in the little corner of the letterhead and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I owe them money. And you just have to get past that intimidation
Exactly.
factor.
It may ruin your afternoon to deal with it, but think it through, and it may come out that there's not a problem. It may come out they're right, but don't just assume it, because they're definitely, in most of the situations we've seen, they were missing some information and the tax was not actually owed.
Okay, Craig, thank you so very much. Good information.